everyone. Welcome back to Making a Man!
Tara! May pa-whistle note tayo for the finale. The podcast that recaps Drag Race franchises from a Pinoy, queer, superfan lens. Kasi Becca naman pwede, diba?
Yes, so this is our last podcast/video podcast for the season.
Parang bilis.
Ang bilis. And ang bilis nung season na to think na we actually did more viewing parties last season with Untucked being scheduled on a weekend. But for some strange reason, season 2 feels like it is light years faster than last year.
It picked up really fast at the latter half of the competition. Hindi na niya binitawan, parang dumire-diretso na tayo into this finale from the last few episodes.
Correct. So we finally have our next Drag Race superstar, and then we will unpack the episode that had a lot of looks, had a lot of lip sync, and then we're just gonna talk about that later in a very linear fashion.
So first off on the episode, we get a recap sizzle reel of the highlights, the best moments, the most dramatic moments of the season. What are your personal highlights of Drag Race Philippines Season 2?
Trying to remember it in chronological order, I think the moments that truly gagged me, number 1, nung finally nag-meet na yung Group 1 at Group 2.
Correct. Oh my God.
That was epic. You remember that moment sa viewing party?
Parang that's when it felt like it started. Like parang the first 2 episodes were a warm-up just for that moment alone na parang...
Yep, that one. Yung Clock Bitch ni Ovi, of course, for me is a season high. Snatch Game being really, really absurd is still memorable up to you guys if you think it's for the best reasons or not. And then we got our very first acting challenge. Of course, maaalala ko rin na for 3 weeks, walang umuwi. Kaya po sobrang invested natin sa kanila now. How about you? What are some of your highlights this season?
Well, aside from, of course, yung mga dramatic away, yung mga iyakan moments, I really love the first time challenges. So we got our first Rusical na as in Rusical format talaga.
Truth.
We got our first acting challenge, our first branding challenge, our first puppet challenge. That was fun. The reading flip top, not so much. Parang mas na-enjoy ko yung puppets just for the mere fact of the absurdity of having your fist up another person. Charot.
Correct. So actually, I think what this season was about really, I think, is the sisterhood, the bonds that formed while they were filming. I think this was something that we barely got to see last season because last season, kind of almost like an all-star season already. There were already big names coming into the competition. So parang beast mode agad silang lahat. But this time, there were times, there were opportunities for natural bonds to form.
Correct. I think what this season did really well is, we touched on this at the very start or when we're doing the Meet the Queens, it's very diverse.
Yes.
Parang we have queens from different places. Hindi na siya, last year was very Obar versus Nectar. Now we have Rapture representation, we have someone from CDO, someone from Cebu. The age ranges and experience ranges are also much wider. So parang it played into having a more interesting group dynamic rather than last year was the who's who of the scene. So parang these are girls that have worked with each other for years, have pre-existing relationships. So parang it was siguro a little easier to navigate for the camera last season. Now it was very raw and I don't know if I like you, girl. Very that.
Gets. And, I have some friends who actually, of course, you can't help but compare this to season 1 now that season 2 is about to end. People are saying that, season 1, stronger first half, season 2, stronger second half. And I kind of see why. I think I remember yung chatter online when the season just started na parang they kept comparing it to season 1. But I think by now we know that it's its own thing and ultimately we need to judge a season by what it can offer as a season.
Correct. Season 1 was very consistent all throughout. Season 2 was very talagang the last few episodes, inuga na tayo eh.
Correct.
We had that big moment we talked about that big moment at the end of episode 2. And then from there, it was kind of, medyo slow burn ng slight. And then when we got to our top 7, top 6, top 6, the competition was really tight.
Yes. But then of course, we see again ang ating mga eliminated queens. Di ba meron dito, siguro if you just try to like do the math of the calendar days, the first few eliminated queens may have been waiting in the hotel rooms for a little over a month already.
Oo, like 3-4 weeks.
Yeah.
Parang if we take na each week has like two something episodes.
Yes.
Each week does 2 something episodes. So parang our first few girls have been in there for quite a while.
Correct. So I'm happy that they get to walk on the main stage again. And if I'm not mistaken, this might just be officially unang nagkita si Astrid at si Nicole.
Actually,
I mean, baka nakita na sila sa hotel, pero I think that was caught on camera. This was the very first moment.
malay mo nagbo-bonding sila sa may swimming pool.
Correct. So who were some of your favorites eliminated queens in terms of the runway looks that they displayed?
You know what? Astrid gave me a lot of really good looks this episode. And I'm sad na she wasn't able to show that during her time.
Yep.
I mean, admittedly naman na her fringe runway was not the best
Correct.
portrayal. But this like red eleganza outfit and then yung
gold pa siya or something,
oo,
diba?
tapos yung pati yung prod number outfit niya na parang
Yeah.
white diamonds with the ponytail kineso. She was really beautiful this episode. I have to give it to Astrid.
Yeah, and I think if you take a look at Astrid's tawag dito, Instagram posts of the unaired runways, meron siyang mga very solid looks.
The rainbow one, like I would watch out, girl. I would steal that in a heartbeat, that rainbow outfit.
And I think a lot of people are still trying to campaign for Astrid to come back to season 3 para meron tayong very first ever Shangela natin. I can see why you can actually make that case and let's just put it out there. Why not, right?
Correct. And España has actually opened up the possibility of so España brought back a season 1 girl in season 3.
Correct. So baka ito na yon, di ba?
I mean, calling on our friend overseas right now, currently, Ms. Prince.
Baka naman balak mong umuwi at or ang gusto mo ba ay para si Cheche na eventually napadeport na lang. Charot.
TNT, charot.
Correct. Ang favorite looks ko, I think would have to be, Ovi's and Hannah.
Yes!
Ovi is just, I feel like, if nandito pa si Ovi sa competition, parang ito yung mega evolution niya as a Pokemon. Parang unti-unting nawa from dark to like just white sa dulo. I mean, I just see her just making that statement.
It's funny that you say that kasi I feel like this finale eleganza look that she prepared is very much connected to yung premiere event outfit niya.
Yeah.
So that feels like if was her mega if that was her final evolution in the show,
Correct.
her mega evolution was during the premiere.
Correct. And then kung ano man ang suot niya sa finale, edi yun yung parang mega evolution. Of course, yung kay Hannah, witty, charming, kulang siya ng isang glove because nakasabit siya
Correct.
in a supersized, life-sized, supersized again version. It was just really good.
It was very glamorous camp, which is appropriate, campy queen nga si Hannah Beshi, but for her to just like serve camp in a glamorous Met Gala way.
True.
I love that.
Yes, so those were the standouts. Now, meron tayong prod number again. Last year we did get a prod number as well, right? So
With the whole gag of the dress that wasn't
Correct.
actually worn as a
Correct.
dress.
Correct. So, you're welcome daw, sabi ni Nina West. So, tama yung reference ko, di ba? Ginamit ata ni Nina West yung...
For a pageant.
For a pageant of like yung dancers na yung...
Correct,
dress,
correct.
That thing. First of all, Mama Pao is really flexing that revenge body.
Correct.
Revenge face. Many thanks to Lift Clinic din po, di ba?
Alam mo, she was serving the beauty habang binabale-balentong siya ng kanyang backup dancers.
Correct. Ang favorite ko is nung nilift siya, tapos meron siyang walking on air.
Correct.
Like, okay, come on, core strength.
And then, of course, lumabas ang ating quiz na, okay, let's talk about the looks. I really loved Ovi's.
Yes.
So Ovi's was, of course, from the Kay Morales runway collection last year where Drag Playhouse were muses for
Yes.
Kay Morales.
I've seen that look in person, worn by Ovi as well, nung single launch ni Marina for Divine.
Yes.
Really, really something to, it's a sight to behold pag nakita nyo po yung look na yon. Of course, I think si Hannah and si Ovi nilagay na lang sa gilid because masyado na silang maraming exposure. So I'm
Correct.
so happy na yung blocking ni Nicole and ni Astrid nasa harap. But I particularly love Matilda's look of like
With the black high bust corset with the
kulay-kulay.
Correct.
Parang siyang swatch
Correct.
na mga kulay.
Oo.
So that was really good. And it's nice to just see everybody here. Like, okay, finally, tapos na.
Collectively, yes.
Correct.
And parang everyone meeting everyone, essentially. Kasi nga, you know, Astrid did not meet the other group, Nicole did not meet the other group, so now they're just like one big happy group of mga natalo. Charay! Mga hindi mabot top 4.
Yes. And then, speaking of the top 4, we get down to the last 3 runway categories of the season with our top 4.
So our first category is wildlife realness. So mga hayop ang mga bakla today.
Yes. Bernie was a phoenix, Arizona was a cheetah, Jade was a goat, and Katkat was a tikbalang homage to Mama Pao. Who tickled your fancy the most?
What tickled my fancy the most was it was very interesting interpretations of the wildlife category.
True.
So Bernie was sa outfits ni Bernie, they're all really good. And alam ko ano yan, mga Patrick Aisorena yan lahat. Kasi Patrick was one of Bernie's close collaborators while preparing for the season. But at this point, and it's the first look of the episode, the whole parang ornate armor pieces with the beadwork is getting kind of redundant.
Yeah.
Like, branding is one thing. Having like a silhouette branded to you is one thing. Repeating the same type of outfit over and over sa runways is another. And we saw that multiple times on the runway, and not just on her.
Yes, that's true.
Kasi yung, so Didi also wore her wildlife runway for the finale eleganza, I'm assuming. So the big, giant lime green snakes, and then meron rin siya ng mga similar like beadwork chest armor pieces on her. And Kat was also wearing the same thing for the same category.
Yeah.
And ang problema ko naman kay Kat is wildlife, but it's an animal in captivity in service of other people.
Of a mythical figure.
Parang
ganon siya. So, I mean, like, I guess pwede siyang hook, but, I mean, if matatawid mo naman siya and it can still make some logical sense, why not?
Maganda na, like, don't get me wrong, actually, I feel like the wildlife realness yung favorite category ko of the 3 of the top 4. They were all really good looks. It's just that parang, a theme of the episode is using the same silhouette.
Correct. I think yung kay Bernie nga, it's, the silhouettes are a little too close to one another. And I'm sure, nakita rin naman siguro ni Bernie yun na parang, oh my God, siguro yung huli kong natitirang runway na hindi ko pa nalalakad, medyo magkakapareho because, they don't have control over, which category will be shown at wala naman silang mga backup. So, it was, I don't know if it's unfortunate, but ultimately, if you are looking at the final runway as your final chance to kind of stretch pa the limits of your drag, how people can see you, how much of a chameleon and a consistent brand person you are, unfortunately, kind of feel for Bernie that it did not work to her favor.
Yeah.
But I do like Arizona's cheetah look. I think great departure siya of like, may mga yellows and browns and oranges pa rin, but it's very refreshing
I
to
think
me.
Arizona took the most risks.
Yeah.
And took the most risks in air quote kasi nga, di naman natin alam kung alam nila na the categories, these 3 categories would be the last. But Arizona had the most variation in silhouette, I think. And she had the most parang, yung ideas niya, alam mo yon, very different from each other.
Yeah.
The executions of the runways were very different from each other. So she had the cheetah with this, it's an admittedly simple bodycon dress with a print na binatuhan niya. Resourceful queen. Pero yung callback to licking the runway, that was fun. I like that.
Yeah. I'm quite intrigued kung yung wig na sinuot ni Arizona actually sa kanya. Kasi parang lagi siyang orange and maybe some blonde and browns. Pero like super dark ito. Quite curious if actually kay Hannah tong, kasi parang ito yung hair color ni Hannah Beshi. So, let's see eventually pag nagka-reveal na ang lahat. Up next, our category is Precious Stone. We have Bernie as Garnet, Arizona as Amber, Jade as Jade, and then Kat as Ruby. What say you?
So you're talking about repeating silhouettes. So Kat was wearing Bernie's silhouette for the previous runway, and now she's wearing her promo look silhouette for this Ruby look. It's still a successful look. Ano lang talaga, parang for a finale ball, hindi siya show-stopping wow pieces eh. Kasi it's
Correct.
things we've seen, things we've come to expect from these queens. And that can be either a good thing, talking about consistency, talking about branding again, or a bad thing na parang, alam mo yun, finale na eh. So, ina-expect mo parang no holds barred na. But then again, these queens don't have control over the category order.
Yeah, so talagang ang susi lang dito is to just have as a diverse
Correct.
collection coming into season 3, Mix Chanel. So
Eto na naman
pag ang ending mo pare-parehong silhouette mo, ibabash ka ng mga tao. But I mean, we kind of get it naman. Wala naman talagang control ang mga queens. But
Abangan nyo every week ang susuotin ko na nipple pasties na iba-ibang kulay.
But yeah, I did see na parang there is some resemblance of the material and of the vibe ng look ni Kat Kat with her promo look. But I have to commend Jade here for just, I think, this is a total departure in terms of silhouette, in terms of fabric, in terms of softness, in terms of hair color. So this for me really worked so well.
This, I think, references yung Over the Moon na movie, si Ultra Luminary Princess something. She's a moon princess na ang kanyang pet ay Jade Rabbit. So parang I think it's a callback to that. Kaya siya parang Ultra Luminaria Kingdom parahas exiting the runway.
And I think but by this point, nakita na po natin na slowly but surely si Jade po ay mas nagiging unhinged.
Girl, this episode, yung mga, when the camera catches her like sa side, in the corner, talagang ganun siya pa. Work.
Yeah, I mean, she knows it's the last day. She knows na uuwi na siya in a few hours. Uuwi na siya in a few hours. So parang like, she is just going to have fun. And then last category, of course, Best Drag Eleganza. We have Bernie as a Phoenix, Arizona giving you Champagne Filipiniana, Jade giving you a fuchsia ball gown, Ultra Luminary Kineso, and then Kat Kat with a black and silver sort of redemption from episode 8. What do you think?
So, natawid naman ni Bernie na parang ginawa niya na kwento na, okay, her first outfit was bird, her second outfit was red like fire. So, put fire and bird together, you get a phoenix. Natawid naman niya ba, ayun nga, parang, I think she just lucked out with, you know, having very similar silhouettes prepared for this
Correct.
runway.
Yeah.
I loved Arizona's champagne.
Yep.
But-
It's soft, but I'm hearing a but.
But she did not know how to walk in it.
Oh.
Parang she felt very stiff. And the hair, I wish we had a different hair.
Correct.
I wish we had hair that leaned into the glamorosa eleganza of the outfit. Kasi this hair, we also saw it nung makeover challenge. It was not a bad thing to repeat wigs. Kasi like, girl, at this point, ubus na talaga sila ng gamit.
Correct.
Pero I wish she just leaned more into that talagang glamour of it all.
Yeah. Nagpakadalagang Filipina siya na medyo mahinhin.
Oo.
Yun na lang yung ginamit niyang parang malambot na atake. You know, when it comes to the final runway, the Best Drag Eleganza Extravaganza, like, medyo I'm kind of like traditional and purist in a way na I kind of want it as grand as possible. And in that vein, for me, Kat Kat was my favorite. Yes, it does. Sinabi niya mismo, it's a redemption look. But for me, it's clearly a redemption look. Because
Correct.
it's cleaner, it looks more expensive, and it fits the moment really, really well.
This is the season of backdress.
True.
This is the season of back. Kasi, hello, nung lumabas din si Precious, may backdress din siya. So parang, trend alert this season is having a backdress or some sort of wing moment. But I have to agree with you. I mean, Jade's was very on brand.
Correct.
Pero parang at the same time, we've seen better looks from her.
Kasalanan rin niya. Kasi masyado niyang ginalingan. So,
Correct.
that moment na parang medyo B+, B- lang yung look, feeling tuloy natin let down.
Oo.
But I think if we saw this look as one of the first few looks that
Ay, girl, hit yan.
pasabog agad. But we've seen Jade just like really go all out.
I mean, just for this episode alone, her two first runway looks were, I think, more successful. I really love that. You know, she twisted the wildlife goat into a devil, yung Diabla persona niya. And then for the second one, para siyang Genshin Impact character. So now it's like, it's very Jade. It's very beautiful. but it just did not pack the punch that I was hoping it would.
Correct. And for me, the one that packed the punch was really Kat Kat.
Oo.
I mean, her first two categories for me were just okay, pero for me, she met the moment when it mattered the most. And I think medyo consistent, ganun siya lagi, no? When it
Oo.
matters the most, she will meet the moment.
Tsaka just the consistency of the outfit na from head to toe, it was same material, same embellishments. Talagang buong-buo siya na, no, nakita, para siyang platong pwede mong isabit sa bahay niyo.
I mean, it's
as
giving like
decor.
high priestess, very
Oo.
evolved, the wise one. So yeah, really, really love that.
So of course, our next segment is our Miss Congeniality segment. So lumabas ang ating Season 1 Miss Congeniality, Lady Morgana, na walang patumpik. Talagang, alam mo, very the same Morgana we've come to know and love.
Correct. Nandun na po ang glow up niya. I think alam na natin nun now. I'm sure if ngayon nyo na lang po ulit nakita si Morgana, ibang-iba po yung mukha niya.
Correct.
But gusto ko lang pong i-share na merong isang viewing party ng Season 1. I think episode 2 or 3 yon, na pumunta siya sa viewing party namin na bagong gawa yung ilong niya. So ever since po nun, talaga pong nagbabagong anyo na si Miss Congeniality
Ano na
Season 1.
rin siya? Android OS update.
Correct. Opo, gano'n na siya. Very, very happy to see her back. She flexed it immediately na siya ay isa ng actress of the screen. Tama naman po yun. At meron siyang yawa, which is you are worthy always.
Alam mo, if any of you have been following Lady Morgana on Twitter, a recurring theme yan eh. Parang kung ano-ano words yung hihilahin niya to make an acronym out of it. So it's nice that she brought it to the main stage as like, alam mo yun, parang an Easter egg for the people that are following her career.
Correct. And then of course, we find out na ang binoto ng Season 2 queens bilang kanilang Miss Congeniality ay si
Hannah Beshi, deserved.
Deserve. Sobrang deserve. And, but I also have been checking the parang informal polls or unofficial polls online. Medyo close fight yung Hannah Beshi and Ovi Kant as Miss Congeniality. Medyo na-surprise ako doon. I mean, ako na tong friend ni Ovi, na-surprise ako na gano'n ang pulso ng masa sa kanya. But quite surprised there actually.
Ako, well, she was, the first half of the season, she was very like claws out
Yeah.
or like breaking down. But I think the second half, especially nung feeling ko dahil yan sa Golden Gaze episode,
tama.
people really warmed up to her sa Golden Gaze episode.
Tama.
I'd have to argue that I would have also maybe put Matilda up in the running for
Pwede.
Miss Congeniality.
Pwede, pero congratulations, Hannah Beshi.
Siya talaga eh.
Siya naman talaga. Mayroon ka ng 40,000. And I think, I'm not sure if I'm remembering this correctly, but I think first few weeks pa lang, we were already getting Miss Congeniality vibes
Correct.
from Hannah Beshi.
Same with Lady Morgana from season 1. And ang cute ka na parang nagsabi sila back to back kasi pareha silang Mindanaoan na
Ganon.
nanalo ng Miss Congeniality 2 seasons in a row. So we shall see if this trend will continue on.
Of course, before we move on to the final 4 lip sync, andito po ang ating reigning queen, si Miss Precious Paula Nicole.
She looked so good.
Yeah, the mug! The mug!
Correct. Ang laki rin ng ginanda niya.
Correct. Slate naman si Precious,
Correct.
diba?
Season of the back dress, but this outfit was executed so well just because of the consistency of the details and the materials. Parang the parang draping or crisp cut, whatever kung ano man detalye nung bodice ng outfit niya is the same sa skirts, the same sa like flowers na dun sa back dress. She looked so good. I just wish she was wearing an actual crown.
Actually, tama.
Dun lang ako nakulangan na parang the hair was gorgeous. I'm assuming this is a Wigs by Margot creation, which, like, girl, malinis, mabango, matibay, ang pinagmamalaki ni Margot. I love that, but I just wish na parang you're
Suot
coming
niya.
back to pass the crown, or
Correct.
essentially a new crown kasi nga may bagong crown sponsor na dinab-in yun.
Correct, dinab-in.
I just wish she was wearing the crown just to be like, hey, I'm your first winner. Like, I'm your first crowned queen.
Yeah, but I mean, we all know that when Precious opens her mouth, it disarms all of us. And I love na yung speech niya was really about, I basically put the Philippines on the map. You know,
Correct.
I opened a lot of doors. I was able to talk to a lot of Filipinos all around the world, and that they get to see themselves in my story. Very Pinoy, true to the brand na puso. So,
And just the acknowledgement of, the people that supported her.
Yep.
The people that support her from here, from halfway across the world. It's parang ramdam mo yung utang na loob niya. Kasi, I mean, like, it's an international platform, yes, it's Drag Race, yes, but at the end of the day, the fans are what make our careers.
Correct. And what a reign. Bilis, isang taon na yon. Isang taon na nung kinoronahan, nung kasama ako sa stage na kinoronahan si Precious.
Yung mga pasabog niya lately na parang medyo sentimental posts online sa Instagram of talking about her journey, alam mo, our queen really has a precious heart, true to her name.
Correct. And loved, loved, loved by the people. So, thank you so much, Precious Paula Nicole, for an incredible reign. It's now time to pass the crown. Kahit ayaw pa niyang ipasa.
Correct.
We are going to have a new winner by the end of this recap. But speaking of, we're gonna take our one and only break for this episode, and then we will see you when we want to see you.
Back in a bed, back in a bed, back in a bed.
And we are back, Drag Race Philippines Season 2, Episode 10.
Before we get into our lip syncs, let's set the stage.
Correct.
Pag-usapan uli natin yung ating top 4. So, we're just maintaining the tension here. Sa dulo namin pag-usapan yung winner. We're maintaining the tension as if we're still watching the episode. So, our top 4, Captivating Kat Kat, Bernie, Miss Jade Saw, and Arizona Brandy. First of all, I love that Jiggly addresses at the start of the episode na parang 3 trans queens on the cast and they all made it to our top 4. And then of course, parang given that Arizona's kind of our wild card but also was an early front runner,
Yes.
winning her first challenge.
Yeah, I think isa sa great things about this top 4, which we also mentioned in the last podcast, is that each and every one of them has already lip-synced. They've already faced the possible mortality of their journey sa Drag Race. And I think mas gigil sila. That makes them just like more ready to fight. Jade comes in here as the youngest versus 3 other queens who are very, very seasoned. Arizona mentioned in a previous confessional that she's been doing drag for 8 years.
Yes.
So I think it's still anybody's game.
Parang Jade comes into this top 4 being, the youngest, also the least experienced, but also the highest in fantasy. But she comes in here with a badge also.
True.
Parang just like she's on the same boat as Arizona na they've been in the bottom. They both have a badge. And then we also have Kat Kat and Bernie na parang are 2-time badge winners that also had their lip sync moment na parang sa lip sync na yun, pinre-empt nila, they wanted to be the top 2. And I think a lot of people wanted them to be the top 2, but unfortunately, the wheel had other plans.
Correct. But I think ang feeling ko, ang pinaka at an advantage here is Arizona because siya yung huling nakita ng judges mag-lip sync. So yung may pinaka element of surprise, yung may pinaka malakas na novelty pag nag-perform is for me si Arizona. I mean, si Jade, ilang beses nila nakita. Ang pinaka-recent nilang nakita, of course, Kat Kat and Bernie. So in terms of like creating more bigger pasabogs, the pressure, unfortunately, I think, or more pressure, are definitely on Kat Kat's and Bernie's shoulders.
Correct. So ayun na nga, we have our Wheel of Fortune to decide our fortune. And unfortunately, our first lip sync pair is, I think a lot of people's top 2, a lot of people's front-running pair. Parang a lot of people wanted them to go all the way to the very end, but the wheel had other plans. And our first lip sync pair is Captivating Kat Kat and Bernie to the song Give Them Just What They Want.
By the mother of us all, Vice
Charo
Ganda.
Santos.
Pareho kami may gusto na mag-misdirect. First of all, I love this song. One of my favorite RuPaul songs na modern day collection. I feel like
they picked this song to give very Call Me Mother vibe.
Yes.
But I think it's really one of those RuPaul songs that was designed to be a runway beat first,
correct.
song later. So parang it just does not have that same dynamic of Call Me Mother.
So I think the song is probably not your go-to song for Bernie and Kat Kat, only because hindi siya yung traditional songs na merong acts 1, 2, and 3 na may big pasabog sa dulo. Ito medyo steady lang siya. So I think they really had their work cut out for them.
I mean, everyone, nakita naman natin all 4 of them. They came in like a cake, like an onions,
Correct.
with many, many layers. It's giving season 10.
Ang daming laman sa loob. Baka may confidential funds po sa loob ng kanilang
Ay,
reveal,
sana
no?
nga doon natin makita.
Sana natin makita ang mga confidential funds. But obviously, it was a labanan of pasabog.
Oo, which feels, alam mo yun, we love a reveal. Everyone, like, you know, in every drag show, we expect a reveal to come out every now and then. We all live for it in the moment. But I think in like, just the tapestry of the season, we've gotten so many reveals.
Correct.
We've gotten so many reveals nga from Arizona na hindi niya naipakita.
Correct.
So, alam mo, we've seen it all been done throughout the season.
Yes.
And I honestly think these songs were specifically picked to focus on the mouthwork because these are both rap songs.
Correct. Now, unfortunately, this does pale into comparison dun sa The Power nilang dalawa na parehong
Oo.
may reveal at hubaran. Ito may reveal rin at hubaran. But,
It's reveals we've seen from both of them except for
Correct.
the mop, which, I mean, we were talking about this earlier na parang Silky kind of set a precedent for this na when she brought out the guitar. But I would argue na Silky's, she prepared the prop, she brought it to the main stage, tinago niya sa gilid. The mop felt like, in the moment to me, I'm pretty sure naman Kat pre-planned it.
Yes.
But it felt like, okay, lalabas ako from the main stage, nanakaw ako ng mop sa gilid ng studio and then dalhin sa stage. So, I would great gag. I think that also parang helped. She had better timing with the reveals,
That's true.
first of all.
That's true.
But I think a mop inching her above Bernie feels a little
Yeah.
not desirable. But also kasi Bernie, kasi pinanindigan yung afro wig.
Correct. Ako naman, feeling ko, even if tanggalin natin yung mop of it all, Kat for me was still the clear winner of this round. Only because by then, bago mag-mop, mas marami na siyang pasabog. Mas maganda yung timing ng pasabog niya. Meron siyang great mix of just dancing and showing off the body and camp. I feel like they were trying to do both of them were kind of trying to do the same thing. Bernie maybe less lang on the camp factor, but for me, Kat just did everything more successfully.
Bernie was definitely too in her head with the reveals.
Yes.
Parang from that whole like pink sleeve number to the red one-piece looking thing, natatanggalin pala niya yung midriff, and then yung afro niya, nahulog at some point, and then binalik niya para
Correct,
for me,
I saw
sana
that.
pininindigan na lang niya, tinanggal na lang niya.
Or sana
tapos-
hindi na lang natin ilagay sa edit, pwede man mag-focus na lang kay Kat. Pwede rin ganon.
Correct. Parang Bernie had so many things pre-planned for this lip sync na parang she just got too caught up in the reveals
Yes.
of it all.
But captivating Kat has been declared as the winner of this round, therefore securing her spot in the final two. We say goodbye to Bernie, and the whole judges panel are in tears.
Ramdam ko yung tension ng judges panel nung in-announce pa lang na sila yung unang mag-lip sync na parang I think everyone really pegged them to be the top two. And I think at this point, yun nga, top 6 tayo ng ilang linggo, I think the judges really have fallen in love with these girls. More especially, parang I think a lot of them have seen Kat and Bernie previously performing sa O-Bar. So, the sentimentality in the room was quite palpable.
Very much so.
Etong sa elimination ni Bernie.
Yes. What a run from Bernie. Again, because I checked the informal polls online, siya ang leading sa winner's pick ng mga tao. The international polls and also I think the local ones with the Facebook group, siya ang number 1. So, yeah, this is quite a surprise, but I think we can kind of safely assume na if we do an all-star season, yung
Girl.
isang slot doon ay nakay Diday na.
Girl, correct. Philippine All-Stars or whatever international All-Stars. Like, Bernie's coming back for sure. Sabi nga
Sabi
niya,
natin yan,
it's not the last we've seen of her. And girl, bakit naman hindi?
Correct. So we love you, Diday. Congrats on a great run.
Up next, we have ang dalawang babaeng lupa.
Correct.
Arizona Brandy and Miss Jade lip-syncing to the song by RuPaul, Who Is She?
Yes, and I think the way to discuss this is to discuss their separate performances because, I mean, one was clearly the winner. Of course, I'm
Correct.
talking about Jujubee here. No,
No, Silky not Mega na.
Silky, not Mega Nash. No, we have to talk about Arizona because we were talking about it earlier. The lip syncs here were obviously about sino may pinakamaraming pasabog, sino may pinakamaraming pasabog done effectively, na it felt organic, it was earned, and I feel like Arizona, everything was in full display. She bodied that song of being cunt, of being the one, of just being her.
She ate that. Sabi nga nila, she ate that.
4 plus 4 is what?
Eight. And she ate what? The contact
The
lens.
contact lens.
For me, this shows very much the Arizona brand, the Rapture brand, the Cubao drag brand of like, you know, you have stuff prepared, but you're also just living in the moment.
Yes.
It's what Arizona did overall.
Yep.
Let's take away yung mga ang dami niyang nilabas niya yung contact lens sa mata niya. Sa dami-dami niyang ni-reveal. I think what Arizona did really well was being in the moment in the song.
Correct. Like, we know she planned maybe like at least half of this,
Oo.
but it did feel organic in the moment. But also, let's just list down the many things that she did. Una, lumabas siya with the vape. And then,
Oo.
meron siyang reveal ng
Reveal
kanyang
nung
dance outfit.
blue ruffle, and then tinanggal niya yung wig niya that had confetti in
Correct.
it.
Tapos may shades, tapos may contact lens.
Na kinain, tapos
kinain.
meron siyang bandanang tinali sa ulo.
Correct. Uminom siya ng alak, tapos pinaliguan niya. Girl, ang dami nangyari. Sobrang, to-do list. Ganong level.
Ano siya, ginawa niya ang lahat ng reveals, lahat ng pasabog for a 10-queen drag show in one number.
Correct. Talagang, I mean, wow. I mean, nakaka-proud. Nakaka-proud because you can't help but feel na this is the, parang, when she was performing, this is the Cubao drag, which is so innately in her soul
Oo.
and just showing it to us, nakaka-proud talaga.
What she did really well was to be her. You know, we've seen her lip sync before. We've seen what she can bring. We've seen her prepare time and time again for a lip sync. Parang, had these things come from any other queen, may mga points na parang, to me, it would be like, is this like a cry for help, like a desperate call,
Correct.
desperate plea, last minute. Parang alam mo, may mga ganung moments, had it come from anyone else,
Correct.
parang, ay, ginagawan lang niya whatever she can do, whatever she can pull out of her literal asshole in that moment. But since we have a precursor of this being Arizona's style of performance,
It makes total sense. And
Correct.
it shows her as an original. So I really love it. So congrats, Arizona. But of course, we have to talk about Jade. First of all, ano bang katawan yan, sis?
girl, dito the trans body representation this season is just delicious, seductive, yummy, philosophical. Lahat ng adjective.
Existential, microeconomical, lahat na po.
Correct.
But unfortunately, I think Jade had an okay start, but I think the moment or every moment Arizona landed a gag, Jade kind of felt that and wala. I mean, you can't help but parang, I'm sure she felt that the moment was like really falling apart or like leaving her hands the more Arizona just moved on with the performance.
Knowing how Jade works, how Jade thinks, I'm pretty sure that all of this was pre-planned. Like, at this moment, I'm gonna bring this out. At this moment, I'm gonna take this off. At this moment, I'm gonna do this choreography. She had parts there na parang she obviously looked like she choreographed for the number. But that's also why I brought up Arizona being in the moment kasi it looked very much to me like Jade was going through the motions of what she had planned out for this song in her head.
Yep.
And realizing na ayun nga parang in the moment Arizona was bodying her and she didn't know how to divert from her plan to make her performance more effective.
Yes. And, you know, I have to say, this particular lip sync, easily one of the best three lip syncs of the season. I think number one, maybe yung power ni Bernie and ni Kat Kat. I think this is a close second if this is not your first because ang galing-galing ni Arizona. But congratulations, Arizona. Siya po ang ating sunod na finalist. And then we say goodbye to also another true original. A very close friend of the pod, Miss Jade So.
What I really have to give to her is, girl, she she says she's been doing drag for like 23
23 years.
years. But essentially, aside from, she was a finalist during the cartel that Marina won in Nectar. But aside from that, essentially her experience performing was, a lot of it was started our show, started at our viewing parties, and then she had gigs here and there after that. She's been technically, at that time of filming, performing professionally for less than a year.
Yeah,
for
and-
months.
And she's a finalist. And
Exactly.
then, not only is she a finalist, she is easily the biggest name to come out of this season.
The fashions that she prepared,
Mama, she has like 90,000 followers on Instagram.
Correct.
I think if we compare that to the Instagram darling of season 1, I think Marina reached 90,000 way after the season na ata. So parang like, Jade is, I mean, if ganito na yung impact ni Jade, having only done drag for not a long time, the mega evolution of Miss Jade So, Mama, I cannot. It's too much.
like, I can imagine Jade winning an all-star season and then perhaps going back for All Winners 7 or how many seasons tayo at that point in the future, just at her like full prime of like experience. She's definitely one to watch kasi nga, for someone so young, for someone with so little experience, she made it all the way. And walang point dun na parang, yeah, she was bottom a few times, but not at any point was like, oh, she parang di niya deserve.
Correct.
Like, she earned her spot in the
Yeah.
top 4.
Yeah, I mean-
with 2 really powerful, more than decades-long veterans, and Arizona has also been in the game for a while. Like, she did that.
Yep, of course, she gave us another memorable speech before she sashayed away. And then ultimately, she went back into the light. Wow.
Girl, I think ang intention talaga ni Miss Jade for this episode, sirain yung backdrop ng
Gusto
runway.
niya sirain yung set sa episode na to.
Tsaka parang grabe yung, like, sa mga runaways niya, yung pagchika niya during the runway, she was so unhinged. She was having the time of her life. Last day of filming, parang, bahala na mami, laruin na natin to.
I love that. We love you, Miss Jade, and thank you for being that esoteric one-of-one power top na Bratzy from Marikina City.
That serves dollification, doll domination, doll shenanigans, lahat na ng tagline.
Correct. At ang dollification is ultimately the skill to shapeshift. We love it. I'm sure you will eventually land the role of Mystique in the reboot of X-Men 3 years from now.
Correct. Or parang the however many nth reboot of X-Men na yun.
Correct.
So before we get into our top 2 lip sync, again, let's set the stage. Let's set our arguments, kumbaga, of rather than just looking at the competition, we also have to look at, you know, the winners of each season, the winners of each franchise are kind of like, eto na yung hinihail natin as standard of drag or parang like a global representation of what Philippine drag is like. So let's talk about the parang impact that either of these 2 winning could be like on a global international representation scale.
Yeah, I think it just provides the global definition of Filipino drag with much more nuance. Yes, Arizona communicated that she is an underdog, but there's also something very underdoggy about Kat Kat's story of being misunderstood, of never being given a chance anymore to just explain herself. So
Ang funny na-realize ko lang, parang we've made so many allusions to Kat Kat being the Trinity, the talk of the
Correct.
season, na parang a frontrunner that maybe not everyone likes outside the show. And then, si Arizona, yung tinatawag natin muna exchange on her original
Correct. Medyo
season.
ganon siya.
It's
Medyo-
giving, it's giving All-Stars winners.
Medyo may ganon siya. So, you know, before this episode, I was perfectly fine with any of the 4 winning because I think the last few episodes of this season has just disarmed us and just made us even more invested that I was perfectly fine with whoever to win. But now we have itong dalawang to. And ganun pa rin, they will make very, very great winners. In a way, they are different, but in a way, they're also the same. And it's going to be a battle, for sure.
I think what Kat Kat represents is parang, you know, someone that's put in the work. I think she'd be a good global representation of what drag is like in the Philippines because she's literally been in so many generations of drag in the Philippines. Nung early days pa lang ng nung Palawan to the P2 bar in Cubao, kung saan medyo nag-start out ang modern iteration of drag scene before.
Correct.
Moving
Yung
to Manan-
victory party ni Magellan, nag-invite siya ng drag queen, si Kat Kat.
Correct.
Orlando.
Parang Kat has been in the game. As in, yan ang tinatawag natin haligi talaga industriya. She's been in the game for 22 years, sabi niya.
Yes.
I think she'd be a good global representation just because she is essentially Filipino drag.
Yeah.
She's started out in the very early days nung tabu pa ang drag sa Philippines to now the globalization of local drag. She's been through all of that. I think that's what she can bring is she is really arguably one of the most seasoned queens.
Amen.
But I think on the opposite end of the spectrum, Arizona represents that resourceful, that Filipino street smart discarte.
Correct.
That grit, that resourcefulness, which I think would kind of, exemplifies Filipino drag kasi despite everything, despite being in a third world with inflation, with our government being the way that it is, we're still doing our best as queer people, as artists, to put out what we can with whatever resources we have on hand to, essentially create entertainment, create safe spaces for our community. So, alam mo yun, there's really compelling arguments for both of them to win.
Yes. And it's great that at the end of the day, yung final two natin are powerhouse performers.
Correct.
And I think we kind of have that reputation globally. So I'm glad na sila yung last two standing. And of course, for our final lip sync, we have Kapangyarihan by Idols.
It has come down to this moment.
We have another queer anthem, a power ballad.
Correct.
So,
Para ano to, it's giving very Serena 2.0, like, not to be like comparing every step of the way, but it's giving very Serena 2.0 na parang it's this heartfelt OPM rap of like the queer experience.
yes. Now, very interesting yung edit na to. Okay, very interesting siya because while watching this, I had no idea who was gonna win.
Girl.
Had no idea who was gonna win. I guess hindi siya katulad ng edit last year na parang as the song progressed, you kind of had the feeling na kung sino yung makakakuha nung crown. Ito, it felt like, we were mentioning it kanina, it wasn't a battle, it was like a duet. Something about it felt really triumphant.
Oo. It's like two individuals performing to the same song at the same time.
Yeah.
Both had their moments. So parang, if you want to go by the technicalities of it, Arizona started off very heartfelt, singing to a portrait, a picture of her and her mom nung sinabi yung nanay dun sa kanta. But then Kat inched at the very end na parang she had, well, one, she had an actual reveal plan rather than just putting on a coat. And then two, she took off one last layer to reveal a message of trans women are women, which is, great, very, how very Sasha Colby of her.
Ito na yung urgent message na hinihingi ni Jiggly.
Correct.
Diba? Urgency baka mo, ito na yon.
Correct.
But yeah, I could not determine who the winner was. I really could not. Because ultimately, kung kanina nakatutok yung mata mo, ganun siya, diba? But I think, for one, really like this particular edit. I want to be at the edge of my seat up until sabihin yung pangalan ng mananalo.
Ako, siguro I was slightly favoring a bit more Arizona kasi I just really liked how she attacked the first part of the song being really heartfelt. As in, girl, ramdam mo na sa kanya na she knows it's her last chance to prove herself. She knows everything that she's doing it for. She knows everything na she came in here to fight for. At talagang binubuhos niya yung emosyon niya doon. Meanwhile, Kat, again, the seasoned performer of like, I know I know what I'm gonna bring out at what point of the song, like, pakak.
Yep.
So ultimately, the winner that has been declared, inching by just the sheer finesse of her performance, is captivating Kat.
First of all, this is gonna get interesting because you cannot deny, Kat did amazingly well, arguably the best in the competition. But I think, because of her reputation,
Yes.
it's interesting to see what this does to, I think, the franchise. But you cannot deny that she did the best. And if you want to be a competition purist, I'm a competition purist. If you want to honor the maxi challenges, the things that you have to put on full display while on Drag Race, you cannot deny that Kat did the damn thing.
And just, alam mo yon, again, the Sasha Colby allusions. For a trans woman, to win a franchise during the reign of Sasha Colby. It's like, it's trans power, like really stomping its foot down of being like, hey, we are also drag queens. We are also part of the drag community. We deserve to be seen just as much as everyone. And that's such a powerful statement overall.
Yes, she is the most seasoned. She is the oldest in the cast. And then the way she made the competition her bitch with a lot of first-time challenges, like she won the acting challenge and then gave us a lot of moments. I think you cannot deny na parang she fucking earned that crown.
Say what you will about her outside the show or like what other controversy she had involved herself in or gotten involved in the past. She won that. Like,
Yeah.
competition-wise, just, I mean, even reality TV show-wise, she won that. She made a mark on this season, and that is why she is our winner.
I'm excited to see how her reign is going to be because I think this is basically captivating Kat Kat, the leader, the mother era. So it's nice to see what moves she's going to make, how she is going to just make it her own.
And just calling back to like what she said in the last episode na parang napagsasabihan na siya na tapos na yung panahon nyo, laos ka na. For her,
Girl,
after 22 years of doing drag, getting this win, what does this mean? What is her reign gonna be like? How else is she going to grow? What more marks is she going to make in our local industry, in our local community, in like the country as a whole, or even like the world?
so congratulations, captivating Kat Kat. Ikaw ang ating bagong crowned queen. And then that is it for season 2. I mean, I can't help but get sentimental as well.
We can't help but get sentimental because this has also been like, we also won this season, I have to say.
We did.
From our humble beginnings of doing a podcast over Zoom and then starting out a little viewing party like way back in March of last year, we kind of really
We did
stepped
that.
up.
We did
stepped
that.
up.
We stepped up. It comes with, being professional marketers before in past lives. So we like doing this. We love serving the customer, the consumer. So maraming salamat sa mga kasama pa namin sa videong era ng podcast na to. Sa lahat po na nagpunta sa mga viewing parties namin, another sold out run all season long.
Thank you so much to everyone that has supported us from day one. As in, kung tipo nakikinig pa kayo sa medyo crunchy audio quality podcast episodes namin all the way to
Correct.
now. If you've been to our shows however many times, if you've been to however many venues you've been in,
Correct.
thank you so much. We ultimately would not have been able to do any of this without the people behind the wind beneath our wings,
Correct.
essentially.
Dati iba pa yung mga mukha namin. I'm sure, yun po talaga ang magkakaalaman kung sino yung mga day zero namin. Dahil alam mo yung mga mukha namin dati. But yes, ganun po talaga yun.
Pre-Botox.
Pre-Botox, pre-fillers, pre-threads, lahat po. But also, we want to take all our sponsors, of course. First and foremost, HBO Asia for just making this amazing video project happen. They've been true partners sa podcasts, sa viewing parties. The support that they give us, of course, hindi nyo nalalaman yun, but to be this glossy and to be this, to give you the glow up that we have right now, HBO has been in full support sa amin.
Mama, my sister had to message me and be like, oh girl, you're on HBO Asia. Like, what the hell?
Ganon talaga. We also want to thank our many sponsors. We have Close Up, we have Durex, we have Issy and Company, we have But First Coffee, we have Relax, we have Levi's, we have Lift Clinic, and then fast fashion, of course. I cannot live without my fast fashion mama.
Correct. So just like, thank you to everyone that's been a part of our journey so far, and we can't wait to see what we are gonna do next.
I have no idea what's in store, but this is the most I've been excited about the upcoming off-season because so many things are in the pipeline, locally, maybe international, and we will keep it at that.
Yeah,
And
I
we-
mean, a second season of another show is coming up. A second season of an international franchise is coming up. Who knows what else we can do, what we can bring. So,
maybe there's something we know that you don't, and that's why we're so happy right now. Maybe.
But if you wanna keep track of our growth as, parang bida-bida,
Correct.
professional bida-bidas,
Correct.
please follow our podcast at Becca Naman Pod on Instagram, and please do follow us on Spotify and Apple
Podcast.
and Apple Podcast.
Yes, and don't forget to rate and review us as well after listening to us. I am Baus Rufo on Instagram, and hey, it's Baus on TikTok.
I would like to thank Ish Barroso for this outfit and some random Indian or Brazilian or Malaysian woman for this hair. Charot. I am at Mix.Chanel on Instagram and at MixChanel on Twitter. And that has been Drag Race Philippines Season 2.
Bye!